We are looking at our second 9 weeks, week 5. So the first thing I'm going to do is put my name on my paper. And we are going to look at Monday's column. So the first box has the words that we will be using this week to answer questions. So repeat after me as I go through the list. Missile, mistrust, misshapen, miscalculate, mishear, mission, dismiss, emit. The root post means after or later. What does postpone mean? Put off to a later date, phone someone later, or write a note after the main letter. Put off to a later date. Okay? Label the parts of speech, the underlined words. Oh, I love the book Maniac Magee by Jerry Spinelli. O is an interjection. I is a pronoun. And by is a preposition. Is this a simile or a metaphor, and what does it mean? Maniac Magee unties Cobble's knot like a pro. Is it a simile or a metaphor? It is a simile because it is comparing Maniac Magee to a pro, and it uses the word like. And what does it mean?
It means he can tie a knot good.
He's very good at it. He is very good at untying.
He untied very good.
Okay? Add a comma after the introductory element. While playing baseball, he hit several home runs in a row.
While playing baseball.
All right, so where do I put the comma?
Behind baseball.
After baseball. And the reason we do this is because it is a dependent
Oh.
clause. Okay? And then expand the sentence by adding more details. They celebrated. I'm going to say they celebrated.
Thanksgiving.
Okay. Thanksgiving a day early. Okay? They celebrated Thanksgiving a day early. Fill in the blank with the correlative conjunction. All right. Correlative conjunction. I'm going to turn my paper all the way upside down because I want to write notes in the margin, and I'm going to tell you what a correlative conjunction is. Correlative conjunction. What word do you see that's familiar to you in correlative? Look at the word correlative. Do you see a word in there? Huh? Relative. Relative. Okay? Relative means that they are kin or they work together on something. Okay? So a correlative conjunction are conjunctions that work together. So I'm going to now give you examples. You have both and, neither, nor, Both and, neither nor, either or, not only, but also. And there are more that as we come to them we'll address them, but these are just your basic ones. Both and, neither nor, either or, not only, but also. So usually if you start a sentence with both, you're going to go a ways, and then a little ways down, and then you will see the word and. If you start the sentence with neither, you'll go down a little ways, and you'll have the word nor. Either, go down a little ways, have the word or. Not only, go down a little ways, and have but also. So now looking at today's box, dealing with correlative conjunctions, it says, neither my brother blank my sister like carrots. So what am I going to put in that blank? Nor. Because I started with the word neither, and neither's relative is nor. Okay? Alright, so that is our language bell work for today. Now we are going to turn to our passage, and guess what? It looks like we have another poem, doesn't it? Alright? We're going to keep working on poems because I feel like the more we work on poems, maybe the better we might get at them. Alright, so I'm going to write the word poem up at the top. What is some characteristics of a poem?
Lines and stanzas.
They have lines and they have stanzas. Okay? So now, that's all I can really identify right now about a poem, because I've got to get into the poem and read it before I can really contribute more characteristics of the poem. So the title is Masks, and this is by Shel Silverstein, which is the same poet that we read last week. And this is Sheldon Allen, or Shel Silverstein, was born in 1930, passed away in 1999. He was an American poet, cartoonist, and author of children's books. Masks is a poem from Silverstein's book of poems called Everything on It. And then as you read, take notes on what you think the masks stand for. Alright, so listen to this poem. She had blue skin, and so did he. He kept it hid, so did she. They searched for blue their whole life through, then passed right by and never knew. Okay, so now we got to get into it. Is it really talking about blue people?
No.
No.
I think it's talking about that's a different understand.
Alright, so let's look at this, and let's start kind of dissecting some things on this poem, okay? Because this is very important. This is a good example of different things that we can look at in a poem. First of all, how many lines do I have?
8.
I have 8 lines. Alright, stanza is a little trickier because we have talked about stanzas being separated by spaces, but they're also separated by ideas. So where would be a good separation that I could draw a line and say this would be one idea and then this would be a different idea? Where do we change ideas?
Or and so did she.
All right, so after line
And so did she.
4, right here.
Yep.
All right, so then how many stanzas are we kind of breaking apart and looking at today? We are looking at 2. Okay, so now I want to look at my characters. I have she, and I have he.
The reason they couldn't see each other is because the eyeballs are way up there and their faces are down at the chin.
Okay. What is something that we can use, or what is something we can say about she?
That she's different from others.
She's different from other people? Maybe she's sad. Maybe she is self-conscious. What does self-conscious mean?
You're conscious about yourself?
Self-conscious means that you are worried about somebody noticing something about you that you don't like. So, for example, I could be self-conscious about something that I'm wearing that maybe I don't feel comfortable in. And so I'm sitting there tugging at my clothes all day because I'm self-conscious that it doesn't look just right or feel just right. Or I could be self-conscious about, whenever you're younger and people tease you. When I was younger, people used to tease me, it was actually this one kid used to tease me and pick on me all the time about the color of my hair. And he would call me Pippi Longstocking to try to hurt my feelings. And it worked. It hurt my feelings. And so I became self-conscious about my hair color. So then that was like 4th grade. So then I got to 6th grade. And I was so self-conscious about my hair that I went and had my hair dyed a different color. Because I didn't appreciate my color because somebody made fun of me. And it made me self-conscious about it. You see? Growing up, I was always taller than everybody in my class. And they would make fun of me for being taller than everybody. And so I became self-conscious about being tall.
You're also being short.
Now, I'm normal. I'm actually, I'm shorter than a lot of people. So, I was self-conscious for no reason. But she's different, sad, and self-conscious. What do you think about him?
He's different from, and he has blue skin. He doesn't actually have.
I say he is different. Maybe he's a little sad. Maybe he's also a little self-conscious.
They're both lonely. That's why their faces are probably. I'm so lonely.
Okay, could be lonely. Okay, we don't know. All right, so let's talk about symbolism. Symbolism. What is the word that stands out to you in that?
Symbolism. Symbol.
Symbol. Okay. What is a symbol?
Something that represents something.
Something that represents something else. So y'all look back there when you see the American flag. When you see the flag, what does that symbolize?
America.
America. Okay. Look up there. Second shelf. Top right corner. You see a cross. What does that symbolize? Jesus. Okay. So different things have different meanings. You can get into objects having symbols and symbolizing things. You can get into colors, shapes,
Your basketball.
all of these things. My basketball symbolizes it's golden. So gold symbolizes a winner, a champion. Okay? So symbolism is when words stand for something else. So we're going to talk about some examples of symbolism now that we see. We see masks. Right? And we see the word blue. So mask. Let's talk about mask. What do you think a mask symbolizes?
Covering your face. Somebody close to it.
All right, Justin?
Them trying to cover up, like trying to hide their face.
All right, cover up or hide something. Okay? What does blue symbolize? Cromwell?
The sky.
Okay, could be the sky,
Color of them.
could be sadness.
They're Tarzan.
If you go back and think about the movie Inside Out, you think of all the different characters and their colors. You've got
Sadness.
Sadness, who, what color is she?
Blue.
Blue. You've got Angry, who is red.
Fear, who is purple.
Joy, who is yellow.
Disgust, who is green.
Okay, so they used when the writer wrote that film or wrote the movie, they chose the colors to symbolize how they are, what their personality is. Okay, and so a lot of times we connect the color blue with sadness, especially in poetry or literature. Okay? So, literature is any fictional or non-fictional writing where it's words that are written. So we look at non-fiction literature. Those are words that are written that are facts. We look at fiction literature. We look at poetry, which is a type of literature. Okay? So let's look at this. She has blue skin and so does he. He kept it hid and so did she. So right here in this stanza, what is going on? Tell me what's happening. They're trying to hide who they are, right? All right. And so here we see blue skin, but is that our takeaway from this? Is it necessarily meaning that they're sad? Not necessarily. It's just saying that is something that they are self-conscious about, and so they're trying to hide it. And it could be appearances, and it could be who you are on the inside that it's trying to hide.
It sound effects.
They do a little bit, and they probably are to an extent because they are. They are because to an extent because I had it and I lost it because they are having to hide who they truly are. All right, so now let's look at the second stanza. They searched for blue their whole life through, then passed right by and never knew.
They searched for other blue people.
All right, so is it really meaning blue people though, Cole?
No. Soulmate.
Huh? Justin?
Does it mean like they were too self-conscious about themselves that they never seen each other? Like if they walked right past each other, but they never noticed each other because they're thinking about themselves?
Okay, that's a good idea. That's not a bad thought on that. They searched for blue their whole life through, then passed right by and never knew. So we're looking here is that they are hiding who they are, and here there are others that they are passing that are what?
Blue.
That are also hiding
And they don't
who they are.
They can't see out of their mouths.
All right. So these words, they searched for blue their whole life through, then passed right by and never knew. That is telling me that
They're too self-conscious about
Cole is not necessarily meaning sad. We've talked about that. I said that blue sometimes symbolizes sadness, but not always.
They're too
Okay?
self-conscious about
So we're going to
themselves.
take that sadness with the blue and kind of push it away a little bit because I want y'all to focus not on the blue as much as I want you to focus on the mask and the fact that the mask is hiding who they are. So that is telling me that others were also hiding their true selves.
It looks like the statues for Easter Island.
It does.
It kind of does.
Alright? So, this one is they are hiding who they are, but they never noticed that others were also hiding their true selves. So now we want to get to the nitty gritty of it, and that is, what is my theme? What is the lesson that you take away from this poem? What do you take away from it? What do you get from this? Alright, Justin?
Never think so much about yourself, but think about others.
I don't know if that's the complete lesson I learned here, because I'm seeing here where I'm hiding who I am,
Don't hide who you are.
and I'm seeing here where others are also hiding who they are. So I think the theme of it would be to show people who you really are. In the words of Elsa, show yourself.
Oh, whoever just did that singing moment, that was too sweet. I couldn't break.
Alright, show people who you really are. Be honest about who you are. Don't hide it. Just, they're either going to like you, people are going to like you, or people are not going to like you. But you should not decide who you're going to be based on what other people think. You need to be you, and then be okay with the fact that there are going to be people that like me, and there are going to be people that don't like me. And the thing is and it's taken me a long time to understand this, I don't have to be liked by everybody. You know, I don't have to have that from everybody. I am going to be me, and I know that my true friends and the people who really love me are going to accept me for who I am and love me for who I am in the same way that I'm going to accept them for who they are and love them for who they are. But I'm also going to understand that not everybody is going to love me and like me and want to be around me, and that's okay too. I don't have to be around them. Okay? So, now that we've dissected this poem, and let's talk about some things that we've looked at. We've looked at how many lines we had, how many stanzas we had. We looked at our characters and their traits. We broke our stanzas apart and talked about what the first stanza was about, what the second stanza was about. We talked about symbolism, and we looked at the symbols, the symbolism that we found in this poem. We had the masks, and we had the color blue. And then we come up with a theme, and that's showing people who you really are and being honest about who you are. Don't hide it, just be who you are. So now, let's go to the back. Now this is the one that I had one class today really struggle with this, because they wanted to focus more on symbolism of the blue, that they didn't look at the whole picture. Okay? So it says, which statement best explains the metaphorical meaning of blue skin in the poem? So I'm going to underline metaphorical meaning, because exactly. So what word do I see in there?
Metamorphical.
Metamorphal?
Metamorphical.
Metaphor. Metaphor. Okay? So we see the word metaphor. And what do we know about a metaphor?
They're things that aren't necessarily true, but it's an educated guess.
Let's go back
Metaphor or
to right here. Let's go back to right here, where we say, is this a simile or a metaphor?
Don't use like or as.
All right? What does it do?
Don't use like or as.
Well, it doesn't do that, but what does it do?
Two things not using like or as.
It compares two unlike things. And I don't have to put anything about like or as, because I would if it was a simile, but since it's a metaphor, I don't have to include that. Compares two unlike things. This is an example of figurative language. And that is saying things in a way that cannot be taken literally. These are literally not blue people walking around. They don't really have blue skin. Okay, Cole? That's not a thing. It's a metaphor. It's figurative. Okay? So, in the poem, only two people in the whole world have blue skin, which means that they must be soulmates. In the poem, blue skin is such a common trait that people must wear masks in order to appear unique. In the poem, blue skin represents a quality that people are afraid to share, even though it is an important part of their identity. Oh, I like that maybe. In the poem, blue skin represents the sadness that people try to hide by always being polite and keeping smiles on their faces. Alright, so we are saying no to D? And my answer is? C. Because I'm focusing on the fact that they are afraid to share who they really are. Okay? Alright, so on Wednesday, we will look at Tuesday and Wednesday columns on our bell work, and we will look at questions 2 and 3.